Giant robot battles are emerging as a competitive sport.
Giant fighting robots have been a dream for a whole generation of people, really.
Our goal was robot combat from the very beginning. We built Iron Glory to fight at long range and stuck big guns on it.
Sweet Obashi, we have a giant robot, you have a giant robot. You know it needs to happen. We challenge you to a duel.
My name is Jim Connor. Welcome to Game Changers Silicon Valley. In this segment, we'll discuss the next frontier in robotics that integrates technology and competitive sport with entertainment. My guest is Matt Oehrlein, co-founder of Megabots, the company which created the giant robot battle known as Japan versus the USA. Matt, welcome to the show. Let's start with the question of how did you come up with this idea of creating a battle between giant fighting robots?
Sure, it's pretty crazy to think about, right? This idea was actually born out of kind of me and my co-founders' childhoods of playing video games and reading comic books and watching movies that feature these epic robot battles from science fiction. So we both went to engineering school, and we realized at some point, like, we can actually build these robots. So I credit my co-founder with probably being the first person to say, we should build giant fighting robots. And he gave me a call, and I was like, we really should do that. And then we sort of came up with the idea of creating a sports league together.
Okay, so how long did it take to do the first robot?
Yeah, the first robot, which we have named Iron Glory, is a $200,000 robot. It took us about a year and a half to fully complete. But we were doing other things like media licensing and fundraising and that kind of stuff. If it was just us engineering, probably 5 to 6 months to build that robot.
How much engineering IP did you have to create, or was it all off the shelf?
We try to keep the robots as off the shelf as possible, because one of our goals is if these things are going to compete in stadium-sized battles, you have to be able to send them into the pits, just like Formula One cars, just like NASCARs, to get repaired quickly. And so having a lot of off-the-shelf parts gives you a huge advantage there.
Okay, so now you've got a robot built. Did you build a second one next, or did you do some media events?
Yeah, we did a few media events with the old robot, but really, once we issued this big challenge to Japan that we can maybe talk about later, we built an entirely new robot that is fully combat capable, that is an order of magnitude more complex and powerful.
That is, if I may use the word, a very awesome robot. From day one was going to be a battle of the giant robots, is that correct?
That's right. From day one, we wanted this to be a sports league. In the vision, it's really easy to picture, right? You go to a stadium, there's 10 robots, there's 60,000 people there. They're cheering on these robots. They're covered in sponsor logos. There's a pit crew. There's drivers. And it's just this like huge high energy event where you watch these robots battle.
It's a franchise model then?
Yeah, so we would like to move to that eventually. Right now, it's mostly Megabots owned robots. There is, our headliner fight, our first headliner fight was another team in Japan, and we're sort of looking for other teams to join, but we're also prepared to just build all the robots ourselves if we have to.
So build them yourselves for now, domestically, and have domestic battles, regional competition to maybe perhaps national, and then maybe something international, right?
Yeah. There's also a few teams in China now that are building some robots, so you may see another challenge in the future where we battle them.
Okay, so I want to kind of back up for a minute and ask you this question. Your robots are all human-driven. Mm-hmm. Is there a game plan where you have remote-controlled robots, or will you stay with a human-driven, human-operator model?
Yeah, so this is something we have thought a lot about, and there's really good arguments for kind of both sides, right? If you take the people out of the robots, you can obviously completely destroy the robot without endangering somebody inside the robot. But on the other hand, it's just not as cool to not have somebody inside the robot, right? What's cooler, being a fighter pilot or being a drone pilot? Kids grow up and they want to be fighter pilots, not drone pilots. So I think there is something, when people go to watch sports, they go to watch people. They go to watch a race. They're thinking about, is it hard to drive that car? Are they nervous? Are they under a lot of pressure? Are they going to get hurt? And so bringing that kind of element of danger gives us a huge entertainment advantage.
Mm-hmm. So NASCAR is very popular.
Yeah.
And people get killed in NASCAR races periodically. Is that something you have to worry about at this time?
It's definitely something we are always concerned about. Safety is a huge concern for us and really any company, regardless of if you're fighting robots or not. When you're building hardware, especially hydraulics, I mean, you just have a ton of power moving through these hoses. Our new robot is a 430 horsepower, 15-ton piece of iron and hydraulics, so it is very dangerous to be around. It's caught fire a few times. The pilots wear flame retardant suits, helmets, 5-point harness. They're surrounded by a roll cage. So we use as many safety standards as we can to make them as safe as possible. But on the other hand, there does have to be a little bit of an element of danger there to make it exciting.
Yeah. So you somehow invented this idea of Japan versus USA.
Yeah.
And you spent quite a bit of money shipping by freight
Yes.
your 2 robots to Japan.
Yes.
And then got them up and running and had this battle, basically. And in the end, your team won. You and your co-founder won.
Yep.
How did that come about? Did you engineer this idea, or did someone plant the seed? Or give us a little insight to that.
Yeah, so really this was just a case of trying to bootstrap the company. Honestly, we had built, at that time in the company, we had built one robot, Iron Glory. Back then we called it Mark II, but we later renamed the robots. We had built Iron Glory, and we didn't have enough money to build another robot. So we sat there thinking, how do we start a sports league if we only have one robot? But there was one other giant robot in the world that we knew of, and it was in Japan. And so we thought, well, 4th of July is just around the corner. Let's dress up super Americana. We're wearing American flag capes and aviators, and we issued a challenge to that Japanese team. They answered 1 week later, and the whole internet blew up, and that's kind of what put us on the map as a worldwide event, worldwide brand, and a sports league.
Okay, so you got the 2 robots. Despite the battle, fatigue, and the damage, you've got them back home, and you've got them both up and running now.
Right.
Iron Glory, is that going to get retired and replaced by a new one, or is that going to be the trophy moniker, or what?
Iron Glory is kind of this old workhorse that just keeps going. That robot's been beaten up and tipped over so many times, and it just keeps running. So I think at the very least, we'll probably keep it around as a punching bag or some kind of weapons testing robot. But as long as we're finding good use for it and maybe bringing it around to appearances, we'll keep it around.
Is there a connection, the sponsorship, let me ask you that. Is that from a certain, like a NASCAR type of engines, or is it more of an engineering company or hydraulic pump company? Any connections there?
Yeah, so it's really interesting. We have this opportunity, because we are this technology platform, we have a great opportunity to get technology sponsors involved in a sports league. So in the case of some of our big sponsors, Autodesk, they make engineering software. Parker Hannifin makes hydraulic components. They have this opportunity to showcase their product in something that's really, really cool and gets millions of views. And they can showcase it as, our product enables the giant fighting robots of science fiction to be created. And that's a really powerful message that tech companies don't always have access to.
Is it Autodesk? They were an early investor, right?
Yep, absolutely.
That's pretty unusual that a corporate would come in that early. What was that magic all about?
Yeah, so I think it was one of our first big appearances. We went to Maker Faire with Iron Glory. That was kind of the unveiling with Autodesk, and we showcased building this epic thing using Autodesk software, and we released some videos about it. And Autodesk got a ton of brand exposure. I mean, their logo was all over, and they're in a YouTube video with millions and millions of views, and thousands of press articles were written about how Autodesk is enabling the giant robots of science fiction to become created. And so they saw that tremendous value, and it makes a lot of sense for these companies to invest in us and further that relationship.
Yeah. Any educational connections? Just happens to be one of my favorite passions. Is there a connection of the student sees it, whether university or high school, they go, oh, that's cool, I'd like to understand how those robots work.
Yeah, absolutely. One of our big internal missions is to inspire the next generation of scientists and engineers to learn science and math and create amazing things. So we don't have any active partnerships with universities or schools. Sometimes we'll do tours for schools, but I think one of the important things is if you really want to inspire kids, you can't force it down their throats. You have to be cool on platforms that they find relevant, and you have to, they have to be drawn towards you, right? So if it's a teacher or a parent saying, hey, you should watch Megabots, that's not cool for a kid, and that's not going to inspire them. So they kind of discover us, and they realize giant fighting robots are cool. I want to be that.
So I have to ask you this question. Where did a scrappy entrepreneur like you find the cool factor? How did you? Is this natural? Is this a total natural thing, or?
Boy, I'm not so sure on that one. It definitely feels like it comes natural to me. My only film experience is I took a film class in high school, kind of for fun, and realized I really liked the medium. And I would kind of edit videos together as a hobby of just kind of like build the cool things that I've built. But it's something that I kind of discovered within myself that I really actually enjoy quite a bit of the video production and the media production side of this entertainment company that I had started. And it's actually kind of strange how I thought when I started Megabots, I thought, we're starting a robotics company. But the reality is we started an entertainment company. And as I got more involved in the entertainment aspect of it, I was like, this is actually really cool.
If I was to ask you what we might see in the next 12 to 24 months from the company, what might that be?
Yeah, so looking forward, we are looking at pushing that vision forward of the Epic Sports League, the Epic Robotic Sports League. So we'll be building out kind of what does it look like to go on the road with these things? What are the logistics involved? And we'll be fundraising another round to put that all together, build out those robots, perhaps recruit those teams, getting the rules in place, and building out the logistics for a worldwide sports league.
That is absolutely impressive. Impressive and fun. So, Matt, I want to thank you for coming by. What's the best way if a person watching the show would like to contact you or the company?
Sure. They can go to our website, and there's a contact link right in the upper right-hand corner, I think. Otherwise, they can just email inquiry@megabots.com.
Okay. Really enjoyed it. Thank you so much, and I wish you every success going forward.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Jim.
If you enjoyed this show, give us a like or subscribe by clicking on this icon. There are links below to follow us on social media or to watch the complete show.